So this game it's a good one to modify actually. So the version of the game that I'm going to share with you today is called Accuse. And so you each have a number, well I say you each have a number, your chair has a number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. We always start at this end, we don't start with 1. So the way the game works is number 8 will stand up and say 8 calls, and then they will call another number.
8 calls 5.
Okay, so then you sit back down in your chair, sorry, and then 5 will need to stand up, and 5 will say 5 calls.
5 calls 3.
Lovely.
Can I go up as well?
Yeah, you can go any direction.
3 calls 7.
7 calls 1.
1 calls 3. 3 calls 2. 2 calls 5. 5 calls 6. 6 calls 4.
Lovely. Okay, so we'll pause there. So that's all you're doing. The sentence that you have and then the action that you have physically. Now, your individual objective is to sit in chair number 1. Okay? And the way that you get people out, because it may not be chair number 1, the person in chair number 1 that ends up moving, but the way that you get somebody out of their chair is if they hesitate, if they get their number wrong, or I know this might sound really strange, but call the wrong number. It does happen bizarrely, so they might call 13 and we haven't got to 13. Yeah. So the objective of this game is to get into chair number 1. So the reason I've chosen it for you guys, it's a numbers thing, it may be useful in that sense. You can use words, so you can use capitals, capital cities, countries, so you can, sorry? Planets, yeah. So it's a good one to modify the way that you want it. I'm going to get my phone for this because I do give you a time limit, which helps to add a little bit of pressure to what you're doing. So we're just going to have one more practice, and what I'd like you to do is speed up this time. So
do we have to swap then?
I'll show you, it's easier to demonstrate when it happens. So if we can speed up and start putting in a bit more pressure on each other. But remember, your individual objective is to get to chair number 1. So you can work as a team in order to do that. So Ben, off you go.
8 calls 4.
4 calls 6.
6 calls 1.
1 calls 2.
2 calls 3.
3 calls 4.
5 calls 7.
Okay, pause. Yeah. So that would be if you stand up on the wrong number. So in that instance, what would happen is you would move down to chair number 8, you 2 move up, and you start to progress that way. So that's how we move up and down.
I did that on purpose.
Okay. Yeah? So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to get, so I'm really sorry I haven't learned your name, it's really terrible. Karen out of her chair. And again, I'm going to ask you to speed up your calling. So 1 calls 2, 3 calls 5, 5 calls 1, 1 calls, yeah? So it needs to be, get the pressure on. Okay, go.
8 calls 1.
Oh, there's nowhere for you to go, you should have stood up. Okay, reset, start again, go.
8 calls 1. 1 calls 2.
2 calls 5. 5 calls 1.
1 calls 4. 4 calls 8. Oh, 8 calls 6.
6 calls 2.
Okay, lovely. So we'll have a little pause there, we'll move. I'm not going to give you any time to figure out what number you are. Keep going.
8 calls 1.
1 calls 3. 3 calls 5.
5 calls 4.
Oh, again, pause. There we go. And go.
8 calls 1.
1 calls 2. 2 calls 3. 3 calls 1.
Oh! Brilliant. Okay, that took you 30 seconds.
Okay.
Well done. You're a Google group. Do you want to play for another 30 seconds?
No.
calls 3.
3 calls 4.
4 calls 7.
7 calls 4.
4 calls 1.
1 calls 5.
5 calls 1.
1 calls 2.
2 calls 1.
1 calls 7.
7 calls 1.
1 calls 8.
8 calls 1.
1 calls 5.
Oh, okay. This is good. That was 30 seconds. You can up the stakes on this game, so we will play one more time for 30 seconds, so you can move around. So now the new rule is that you cannot call the number that has just called you. Okay. We ready? Go.
8 calls 2.
2 calls 4.
4 calls 5.
5 calls 1.
1 calls 7.
7 calls 2. 2 calls 3. 3 calls 5. 5 calls 2.
Okay, so 10 seconds to get Lara out of that chair. Go.
8 calls 2.
2 calls 6.
6 calls 1.
1 calls 5.
5 calls 2.
2 calls 4.
4 calls 1.
1 calls 7.
Okay, and stop. Well done, Lara. Yes, so there's a flexibility on how much pressure you can put on that one as well. You can introduce other rules to make it a little bit harder. Yeah.
Very noisy.
Yes, it would be very noisy. I tend not to play that one with more than 15, so that is a little bit harder. One of the things that you could do is split them into 2 groups, and it could be, you can compete that way. That makes sense? Yeah. Hello, yes, if you don't mind taking your shoes off, that would be fab.
What's the best tactic for getting it at 1?
It's just collect, so it's every other call needs to be to number 1, just to put,
Okay.
I don't know if this one there, just to keep that pressure on. Yeah, it's a good bonding one in that sense for drama. But the other thing about it is its projection, because once you get the more young people that you get in the room, the more they have to project in order, and listening as well. And it's a really interesting one for the quiet ones, if you've got somebody who's not that confident, because they will do the 5 calls 3, and just kind of pushing them to do. My thing is always imagine that somebody stood at the other side of the wall, or somebody stood over there in that office, and I know that I could speak loud enough for them to hear me, and I'd still be speaking, and it's not shouting. There's that difference between projecting and not shouting. But that's another way, and in a sense of confidence, it's kind of a good way just to get that volume up a little bit gently without anyone noticing. Okay, so can I ask you to just stack your chairs over there?